I would like to say welcome to Rwanda to you all, and inform you that we will have to wait a bit for some of the leaders who will attend this function, because the keynote speaker, one of them is not around. Then the guest of honor is also not around. We are waiting for them to come. Then in the meantime, we shall be greeting each other and asking news from each country's delegations. So, as I was saying, allow us to wait a bit until these guests arrive, and then we start our program today. Thank you. Dr. Mirei, can you, and others who are still outside, can you join us? Dr. Mirei? We are about to start and I am calling the MC of the event, that's why. So, in the meantime, I'm Dr. Gonzalez Chimimana, the coordinator of Access Rwanda and a lecturer at NES-RUHENGERI. Access stands for African Center for Career Enhancement and Skill Support. I've been on this project since 2020, and it is running until the end of this year. I was also the coordinator of the African German Entrepreneurship Academy, AGEA, which started in 2017 and ended in 2020. But before that, I was in constant contact with Leipzig University through CEPT, Competence Center. CEPT stands for Small and Medium Enterprise Promotion and Training, whose founder is here, Professor Capel Robert. I have many colleagues from Leipzig University as students, but also I have other colleagues who work at Leipzig University in different positions. I think we will have time to introduce ourselves. I was taking this short opportunity waiting for Dr. Mirei to come and let you know that yes, we are pleased to be with you today. As I was saying a few minutes ago, for those who came late and who did not have the opportunity to meet others, this is the moment, and we still have 1 week to go interacting, exchanging scientifically and socially. You will have a good time to see Rwanda, and I'm sure you will enjoy what you will see. So, can somebody, where is Dr. Mirei? She's coming. Okay.
Mwaramutseho neza. Yes, you are most welcome in this summer school organized by NES-RUHENGERI and Access.
Professor Robert, the founder of CEPT and Tunisia. There are three things: cognition. Thank you so much. I welcome all. Be a catalyst for transformative change for peace and prosperity. With academia and commerce, the world become more and more connected. University exists beyond traditional boundaries, forge new alliances with strategic partnerships, and embrace a learning paradigm that Institute decided in 20 partnerships with
have something new, and innovation economics is 59 and 61. Okay, and many are less competitive regard coming from this World Competitive Index. So that like this. A third approach I present here. There are so many other approaches, but I took the most important ones is the productivity capacity index. And what we all know, that productivity capacities play a central role in setting in motion the long-term process of structural transformation. So productive capacities is resources, entrepreneurial capabilities, production linkages, which determine production of goods and services. So very important index for understanding where African countries are situated in the global processes. And this productivity capacity index consists of 8 categories. I will not go into details. How are countries equipped with human capital? How is the situation in education? Or what are what is about the natural capital? In some countries it's mineral resources, in others it's more agricultural capital. What's about the energy situation? How much is the infrastructure developed, and how high are transport costs? Very important also to be competitive in the global market of research and development. So when we take all these criteria, we immediately see that there is a catching up process. Africa takes responsibility, and it's innovating, but there is a long way to go in order to catch up to the advanced nations, which also struggle regarding innovation. When we see the German debate on innovation, Germany spends 2.5% of GDP for research and development, but we all complain that this is not enough. Okay, I will not go into the globalization process too deeply, because that takes too much time. But what we can see, that the international division of labor has changed drastically. And where are the long trends? Where is globalization going? Is it now deglobalization, de-risking, and so on and so forth? But all the data show that globalization will continue, and it will focus on data, on innovation, on technology, and digitalization, of course. Why is globalization so important? We can see this in this graph. On the one side, we see that the using internet has developed since the 1990s very, very much. All over the world, we have access to internet and mobile cellular and access. So that has changed drastically. That's one part of a globalization process. The other is that transport and communication costs are drastically reduced. In the 1960s, for instance, we had, when we start with it's an index. When we see it, for instance, 1960, it has been reduced up to 40 or 50% coming from the 1920s. But nowadays, the transport cost, the access to the cost of telephone calls, sea freight rates, computer storage cost per more, but it's absolutely reduced. So everybody has this, and the transport cost had been reduced. That means that globalization is everywhere, because when transport cost is so low, you have a lot of challenges, but you have also a lot of opportunities. And globalization 4, that's the latest, how Africa can participate in these global trends. It can use new technology trends and can also follow proactively on the national level, also on the regional level, and there are a lot of activities going on in the African Union, African Development Bank, but also in the regional bodies like East African Community or ECOWAS. Okay, this is it. Somehow we are in a seamless world. Everything is so close. Everything is so immediate. We are coming together by Zoom or by WhatsApp. We can immediately cooperate. Every information is available, and that's a huge challenge for African countries, not only for African countries, but also for African countries. And we see that the technological dynamics determine the areas of digitalization development. So, of course, somehow African countries did a lot from a very low level, but did a lot, and we have a lot of startup enterprises, and we have a lot of countries which are in a process on converging to the developed nations. And this can be seen in the islands of high-tech technology in many countries. What's going on? So we talk about innovation achievers. These are countries which are particularly strong in innovation in a global comparison. And I was talking about Malawi, which spent 1% of GDP for R&D, but other countries also improved their innovation inputs, innovation outputs, and the innovation efficiency more than the other countries on the continent. So that is, there is competition, and African countries show that they have done a lot in order to go forward. And although there are some weaknesses, we have a lot of hotspots of growth in many countries where innovation is very much developing, and where we can see the huge changes going on in the globalization process. So we see hotspots of innovation and growth in Morocco, for instance, the automotive cluster. We have South Africa, the media, fintech, and also automotive clusters, which are also spending a lot of money for research initiatives and linking manufacturers to universities. This is a trend which we can see wherever you go on the African continent. Then we have Nigerian startup scene, which is very important. You all know the Nollywood activities, one of the most interesting media and film industries worldwide, which is also now seen on Netflix. Many films are part of the big Netflix development. So we have also Kenya and many other countries where you can see, although there are a lot of weaknesses, some hotspots emerge where innovation is part of on the agenda. So I leave out the Africa transformation situation a little bit because of time, but what we can say that this innovation in Africa shows that business as usual is no longer continuing. We have to overcome, African countries are to overcome the limitation and the weaknesses, because changes are so huge. But transformation process is also important in order to tackle problems of climate change, poverty, problems of employment. A very important part of the story, 50 to 20 million African young population every year is on the market as new entrants on the market and looking for jobs. And that's a huge challenge, and that makes sure that the economic transformation process of African countries has to be much more in the focus of the entrepreneurs, but also on the state. The state has to do a lot more in order to overcome these problems. I say this because many people are, if we can attract more foreign direct investment to our countries, then this will give a huge support for the transformation process. But be careful, only 0.7% of all jobs on the African continent are by foreign companies. So my argument is we have more for endogenous growth, for much more for local growth, for much more local investment, and not rely too much on foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investors have interest in energy resources, commodities. They try also to exploit cheap labor, but often they do not transfer technology to that African countries have to look much more on their own development agenda, not rely too much on the foreign direct investors. Foreign direct investors do not create so many jobs. There are some jobs created, of course, in industrial parks, in the automotive production, car producing, of course also high valued jobs, and also there is somehow a technology transfer, especially in these hotspot of growth I was talking about, but the agenda should be much more on transformation from low productivity sectors to higher productivity sectors. That said, is very easy, of course, because everybody is talking about this. It also shows that industrialization is also important for this transformation process. We cannot avoid industrialization. We need industrialization, not as a basis for innovation, but because there you can get more jobs for the local population and all these young people in the market. So industrialization is important, and it's necessary to foster industrialization by state and also by enterprises. This great medium-sized part of the SME sector is not so strong, and this is why we call this missing middle. There is, of course, a huge need for medium-sized enterprises, growing enterprises, getting bigger, in order to create jobs and be competitive in the market, because the competition from the outside is huge. So this is why technological capabilities is important for competitiveness. Market capability and technological capability goes together in order to overcome the limitations of a company. And there we have also a process of development in technological capabilities. You need the implementation of a new assembly process, production know-how, and so on and so forth. You have to assimilate technology, and you try to export more, and at the end of the day you need more research development, not only in engineering but also in other part of the economy. So investment capability, productivity, production capability, adaptive innovation capability, in order by a technology innovation created by a technology and innovation policy. And you need also linkages capability, and that's important because where do you add value? It's mainly not in production. For instance, producing a shoe like this one here, the production cost of this shoe is just 7%. 93% is by others. By research and development, you create a new shoe, new colors, new design, and services and marketing is a very important part of participation in the value chain. So you can focus on production, in brackets industrialization, a very important tool for your development, learning, and getting access to the global markets. But at the end of the day, the big companies create value by research and development and design, and by marketing all this stuff. So at the end of the day, you need that you smile more, to do more in research and development and design. And what I have seen in my studies on the African continent, there is a huge catching up process going on in this respect. And at the end of the day, we'll see that African countries have a lot to offer for the global market, not just cheap production. Okay, I think I have 10 messages, not mine. That's the international debate going on these days. So first is, Africa has a huge potential for innovation. There's a huge trend going on, and all countries and all governments and all stakeholders in an economy know that there is a great potential for innovation, and that can be derived from young population, very active population, very much interested population, very better educated population than ever before. When you see the development from independence up to date, the huge step forward in education. Okay, that's first. Second is culture of innovation that has to be created. And I know from my own country, which is somehow advanced countries, we have to struggle about this. Innovation, change. Innovation means change, creative destruction. The old traditional stuff no longer applies. So go on, continue, create something from the universities, young generation which is educated for the culture of innovation. Third, don't fear innovation. You are on the long-term trend, the new actors in innovation. You should not fear this. The old age countries and getting older countries like the advanced European countries like Japan or China, which are getting older, will face a lot of problems, and old people are not so innovative. So that's my impression. Okay, not everybody is old and old-fashioned, but I see the chances for a young generation to go forward. And what you can also do, you invent something, you innovate, you do this and that, but you can also steal, copycat, steal what is available international, copy what others have done. The success of China depends mainly at the first stage of Chinese development because they have stolen. Yeah, they have. Okay, perhaps it's a too strong word, I know. So be copycats, imitate and develop. Be copycats, that can help you because it's also restricted by WTO. Okay, you have to adapt to this. But many information, many new ideas are available in the internet, and you can try to do something and improve it. Create your own brand name on the basis of what you have created got from the outside. So, fourth is own resources. Own resources. I try to emphasize this wherever I go. Own resources. Don't trust too much on foreign resources. You create your development by endogenous development, focusing on the resources you have in your country. And then you can also take advantage of global value chains when you have to offer something, because you have technological competence, expertise, which can be part of also of a global value chain. So you also can use the commodities you produce. Often it's just raw material which is exported. Last night we had a debate on coffee in Tanzania. No roasting of coffee in Tanzania and exported coffee. Roasted, exported coffee, but just green beans. But there is a chance also in agriculture to participate by adding value, by roasting, for instance. Also in the commodity sector, raw materials, or Nigeria exports oil, raw oil, crude oil, but now just a few months ago had created own production of kerosene and so on for the local market before they imported such thing. So you can also use your commodities. Innovation is not the same in China and in African countries. You can learn something, you can use some ideas, but it must come from inside. And you can also make the difference, because you innovate something and produce something which is very relevant for other African countries. And this is why you can also use the African continental free trade area as a basis for deeper integration in trade and production. And this can only done by medium-sized and big enterprises, not by the informal sector enterprises. So you need something like a national and regional innovation system which can foster competitive economies. And the AFCFTA, the free trade area, is a good basis, can push this process that at the end you can catch up. 7, market. We're talking about enterprises, we talk about the market, we talk about competitive products, but the state has a role. The state has a role, and the Vice Chancellor has mentioned this also. Research and development has to be supported by the state, also by private enterprises. But the state has a role and create positive effects by fostering, improving research institutions and spend more money on research and development. Of course, there's always a problem because the resources are not always available. But nevertheless, at the end of the day, you will go into this direction as young generation. Then the 8th is inclusive economy. We were talking about this. The innovations should also focus on the problems of the African countries, societies. Educating, empowering, enabling people, that's part of the stories. Inclusiveness. You can, of course, create these small industrial clusters. You can have these innovative hubs, but they should focus on the development of the society, because so many people are excluded and what is necessary, that all people should include it in the development of Africa's concept, is something, we do something together, we learn from each other, we learn what the others have done. Can we take something African side? So, then one aspect which is also of importance, it's not, we are not in the situation where investment in technology, in innovation is supported, financed, because investment in new innovative products is risky, and you can also fail. This is why banks and other financial, and that could be supported also by the state, by lower taxes or funding, creating funding for innovative technology. So that is a certain investment is a risk, and many banks are not very risky. They focus on that what was traditional and what was in ancient. So there are huge challenges, but we have growing capacity, we have competence, and we have the will to win, as Alois Schumpeter said 100 years ago, the will to win. Okay. In order to overcome our a sustainable, so a transformation process, structural transformation process in African countries, the great transformation, as one important economist once said. So, we have many challenges, we have many opportunities, but catching up is manageable, and I think I stop here now. Thank you.
Innovative you will be. Innovative you will be because you less risk before looking at the advantages. So I think he's giving us a different view, but thank you for this. We would like to take like 2 or 3, just yes.
Please keep to allow others to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have 2 concerns. I'm Dedewanu Mwesu from Benin. I'm Dedewanu Mwesu from Benin. To Scampata. From the beginning, when you are talking, developing innovation, I think that is already obstacle or hinder point in the African context. We think all together, we want to be in collective action. While Scampata, yeah, because when you share innovation, hidden. That's my first point. And we, for instance, in my country, they pull 1,000 citizens together to talk about entrepreneurship and innovation. It's nonsense. Where I spend a lot of time in what we call regional sciences. We talk about globalization, making global local. But to what extent that you can teach citizens to consume local goods? That's the question. I thank you.
Dr. Emmanuel Freeman from Ghana. I sincerely appreciate your presentation. Straight to the point, lucid. I wish you made this presentation at the Africa Summit where all the president of state might have met, and you made it. I strongly believe with all my heart that we all have the mindset and the willpower to innovate, transform and come out with something great to transform our next generation youth in Africa. However, I see a weak link from the political perspective of your presentation, where the government and the socio-economic indicators have got a great impact on some of the things that youth and startups will have to consider to come out something innovative and own. I am taking reference to your initial backdrop where you reference our very first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and the need for us to revolutionize our workforce in Africa. But the concern you raised that Africa must create 15 to 20 million new jobs to accommodate the brain drain of the youth who are trained here to Europe and advanced countries for greener pastures is an alarming indicator from the presentation, and we cannot sit here and keep mute about this sad trend. In your opinion, what do you think African leaders must do, and the role of higher education institutions in this regard? Because we are teaching, a lot of people here are teaching entrepreneurship. I'm a computer scientist. I'm building strong competence in my learners and students to come up with innovative projects. But when they finish, to even start up a business is another story.
Thank you very much.
So these are areas that I think may need some redress. Thank you.
Is there any other intervention? Then let's give Professor Kappel the mic
Yes.
for answering.
To be very short, of course, every entrepreneur who invents something and creates something like a new product or something new, and of course he's on his own agenda. He will not share this, but that's the business side, the view from an entrepreneur, for sure. And that's also very good, because he has responsibility, he has to get loans for doing this and create a market for this process. Very costly, and it takes time. Time is cost. So of course he will not share and say, okay, have something new. Will you also do this? No. But at the end of the day, when you are somehow established in the market and make profit, others can also see what you're doing, and then they can benefit also from your success. So that's imitation. That's part of the story, and that is very important for entrepreneurs who try to be innovative. There is always competition, and people try to see what others do. But at the end of the day, the entrepreneur is responsible. He is doing his job, and he will survive in the market. He will have a higher market share, more profits, so that he can also export, for instance. That's for sure. But from the macroeconomic side, Schumpeter in this case, but all the other economists show agglomeration economies is a process of imitation. You learn from the others. Also, you learn collective efficiency in industrial clusters. You see what others do and try to do it better. Create your own brand name. That's the competition in the market, and that's good. And it will create something new. It also creates destruction. Others will not be successful, be out of the market. So it's a very good intervention, because it shows how enterprises have to act. They have to hide when they do something new. They sit in their labors or in the do something and not to tell everybody what they are doing, of course. So I thought I was always pessimistic regarding Africa, Today I wanted to show that there is room for optimism, much more than we ever think. And when I see, for instance, the debates at the African Union, okay, sometimes they also talk about innovation, but not so often. It's always often complaining it's not working and why we need more money from China and investment from United States, China and European countries. I think there should be a new momentum for development which is tackling the problems and innovate young people, that they are optimistic, that they can do something, that they can create startup enterprises and develop something, and how we can create something which is relevant in the market countries now. In my country, people very often complain about this and that, and this does not work, and that does not work. Okay, that's boring. Always, that's boring. I think you are in African country. You have something to offer. You have a lot to offer. All countries should support these countries, but the normal African countries is on a catching up process with very well-educated people, very good entrepreneurs. Some are struggling in the survival sector, in informal sector, but many others go their way forward and do something. And this is why I'm no longer so pessimistic. I'm more pessimistic about the advanced countries, because they realize now that there is a shift, economic shift, global power shift, and that African countries no longer asking for aid and just getting help from the North. No, they have their own agenda, and that's very good. Also for partnership. Partnership needs competent actors which know what they want. And then you can have good partnership between businesses here in the access program basis of states in international institutions. Okay, that's the vision I try to push, and I take what I have said here is also available in the literature. I just focused a little bit regarding our concept here of learning, but I think always in a business plan you always think about cost and problems, and that also happens when states negotiate, and also when cities come together in order to do something, have new ideas. They focus always on saying, okay, this is not working, that is not working. We too often talk about what is not working. I think we should talk more about what is going on. Where can we organize a catching up process? Where can we do something new? Where can we add some value to also, not to the enterprise per se, but also inclusiveness for the population? And that is absolutely necessary in my view. So I'm no longer pessimist, but somehow optimist.
That should be, yeah. Thank you very much, Professor. So I would like now just to invite yes, I think he really deserves another round of applause. Yeah. So now let's hear from the representative of the Germany embassy, who is here with us. And then after him, we'll just proceed with the official opening. And yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the invitation to NES-RUHENGERI. My name is Marcel Konsten. I'm the cultural attaché at the German embassy here in Kigali, Rwanda. And I must say, despite my rather longish work experience as a cultural attaché at different postings worldwide, I do not very often have the chance to speak in front of a room full of scientists. We diplomats tend to use a different language, and I was quite positively surprised by the first keynote how deep into the subject matter immediately this event has entered. So I'll keep it brief. I'll keep it short because there's going to be a coffee break afterwards, and this is the official opening. And without much further ado, normally here in Rwanda, people take great stock in protocol, so I'll start by addressing Dr. Rose Mukankomedia, especially Dr. Baribeshidya, and of course Professor Kaplan. When I stand here before you as a German representative or as a German, I see scientists, and I see scientists from Rwanda, Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Kenya, Tunisia, and Germany. So, room full of scientists. And for me as a German, this makes me profoundly happy. Why? Because academic exchange is an intrinsically German thing. Dr. Baribeshidya has mentioned that the 19th century was the century of German scientific advancement, the 20th being the United States and the 21st most likely China. I beg to differ. Because Germany stands by its academic traditions and research and the pure advancement of science. Germany sports a very diverse and colorful academic landscape with whole, basically groups of basic research institutions such as the Max Planck or the Fraunhofer Foundation. And everything is geared towards exchange and discussion out in the open. It's not innovation anymore. That doesn't go for science, at least not in a German's mind. Because one thing that Germany firmly believes in is that knowledge should be free of charge. Education should be free, starting from elementary school all the way to graduating with a PhD. So, on the one hand, in Germany, we have the scientific landscape, basic research, universities, literally hundreds of degree programs. And on the other hand, everybody knows the German economy, right? Fourth largest export nation, member of the G7, one of the leading industrialized nations in the world. And German economy, or the strength of the German economy, is not, doesn't come out of thin air, but it comes from innovation. So we are also facing the question, how do we get scientific advance translated into economic growth benefiting society as a whole, right? How do we get science, how do we get research out of the universities and into the societies? It's basically the same question we're facing here. As you know, in Germany we do have, aside from the regular universities, we have a system of universities of applied sciences, of much more practically oriented research institutions. Sometimes there are incubators, so you will find certain universities of applied sciences where you've got industrial clusters, right? So you've got an economic field, say, for example, car manufacturing. And if you go to the south of Germany, where most of them are located, you will find universities of applied sciences that are specializing in engineering, not so much social sciences there. So for us, also the question of how do we partner up with existing businesses? How do we foment basically a mutual understanding? How do we choose what do we research? How do we choose where to innovate? Where does the money come from? As I said earlier, in Germany, it is a public endeavor. Most of scientific research is being funded by taxpayers, right? And not necessarily by business interest. So how do we balance it out? That's a question that we are facing and we have been facing constantly. Well, my point is, Firstly, academic exchange for us is never a zero-sum game, despite who copies the results of scientific research, but a continued exercise in an exchange of ideas, in an exchange, in a discussion, and not within Europe, not within the leading scientific institutions, but among scientists as a whole, because every opinion, as we've just seen, when the first question started popping up, promotes discussion, mutual understanding, and therefore the advancement of knowledge. Secondly, despite me being from Germany, we are facing exactly the same challenges when it comes to translating scientific advances into economic activity. So I've looked at the agenda for this summer school, the Access Summer School, and the questions that you will be tackling in your symposioi and your talks and your roundtables are basically exactly the same that any higher education educator is facing at a German university. How do we get young people interested in the subject matter? How do we train young people not only in science, but also how do we prepare them to actually go out there and be basically a productive member of society, right? And not sit in their ivory tower, as nice as it might be. And lastly, most importantly, I'm an optimist by definition. I'm a diplomat. I have to be an optimist. Otherwise, you know, I'd probably be working for the military. But that notwithstanding, we're facing increasing challenges that affect all of us globally as the human race, right? Problems and challenges that are transcending nationalities, that are transcending competing economies or economic interests. And in that regard, I am an optimist, especially for the African continent. I see it a little bit differently. I see a lot of potential, and if I look into this room, quite obviously, when we get 6 universities from 6 countries together into one room for 1 week, that speaks for itself. So, and I therefore am very proud that we, Germany, are a partner in fostering this exchange, and I therefore wish you all a successful week and a lot of fruitful discussions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much too for your speech. Now allow me to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Rose Mukampumishi, the Director General of Higher Education Council, to come and officially open this summer school.
Good morning, everybody. Is it summer? Is winter? My question was in Feb. I don't know. Summer here in Rwanda is July, and maybe this is my first question. But, normally, I'm not a person of speech, but as I have been asked to do so, I will try to exercise. So, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, estimated guests, partners and friends, good morning. It's not easy to take the floor after the 2 eminent speakers, one from VC-ness, another one from Professor. I've tried to look at innovation. This is also my area of interest. I think we will need to look at it to see how we can narrow it. Today, people are saying everybody copies and pastes. Actually, that was one recommendation. But in higher education, it can be a plagiarism, and someone can be punished for it. but maybe in industry it is allowed, and in businesses. But someone has said, what is wrong for Africans? We are bad in pasting. So this is what I can start with. So it is very, very, very important for us from Ministry of Education to be part of today's discussion and opening the Access Summer School in Rwanda. Personally, I'm deeply humbled to be part at this very important moment that brings distinguished academicians, researchers from universities in Europe, specifically in Germany, and in Africa. I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations to the African Center for Career Enhancement and Skills Support, because this is an area where we have to put a lot of effort. We thank them for organizing this significant event. It is truly remarkable to witness the collaborative efforts of Access and Germany Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and also the German Academic Exchange Services in fostering educational and skills development initiatives in our country and in Africa. As we gather here today, we also celebrate a decade of a fruitful partnership between NES-RUHENGERI and the University of Leipzig, very difficult, from Germany. This partnership through NES Innovation and Incubation Center and the Competence Center has been instrumental in advancing innovation, education, and skills development in the region. This collaboration has been a beacon of success, resulting in numerous achievements and milestones in academic excellence. The achievements outlined including the opportunities, the development of lecturers and university staff, and the direct impact on students through training, workshops, and mentoring support reflect the success of Access initiative. It is heartening to see the positive effects on education and skills development in our region. Throughout the scheduled events, the summer school promises to be a platform for rich discussions, exchange of ideas, and the forging of new partnerships. The presence of international experts in academia, local industry leaders, and representatives from higher learning institutions will contribute to the formulation of strategies for generating a skilled labor force ready for the market. I'm particularly excited about the emphasis on transformational learning approaches and the role of civil society organization in the private sector in supporting student mindset change. These are critical aspects in preparing our youth, not only for the challenges of today, but for the opportunities for tomorrow. As we move into the various sessions, including skills development and transfer, university business linkages, and practical challenges faced in knowledge and skills development, let us keep in mind the overarching goal to empower our students with the tools and the knowledge necessary for success in their future careers. I extend my gratitude to all the organizers, partners, and participants for their commitment to this noble cause. May the Access Summer School be a catalyst for positive change, laying the foundation for a more prosperous and innovative future for Rwanda, for Africa, and beyond. I wish you a successful and an enriching summer school. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your wishes and also for this official opening of the summer school. I would like to ask everyone just to take a very short, brief break, as we are having a very interesting panel discussion afterwards. So I would like to request you just to grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, or a glass of juice of water. It's just outside here. Then you come back inside with your coffee, with your cup. Then we continue with the discussion, because there is a panel discussion after this, and it will be interesting to, yes.
Sorry a bit. We would like to take a very quick group photo, and then we take, sorry. Because we know some of you might be leaving very soon, and then we may not get the opportunity to bring you back. Thank you. Yeah. Board members of Access. Yes, please. Coordinators of Access. Participants. Yes. Let's do it quickly. Partner organizations. Hey, STEM. So let's do it quickly. forward, and then we start the next session. Thank you. This session, as we have discussed from the morning, we are in the context of skills development. We are in the context of collaboration and partnerships, all aiming at developing skills in order for developing and producing graduates, employees of tomorrow, employees who are ready for work. As the previous presentators said, if you look at this journey of skills development, you can have at least 3 areas in which we need to put efforts together to develop the right products from the university and the right products for the industry. These areas include skills anticipation, skills development, and later on, I may say, skills transfer. Director General of HEC, this question goes to you. How does HEC assess the skills that are missing in this academic and market, and what do you do as a government body to make sure that the 2 other bodies, I mean the private sector and the higher learning, I mean the academia, delve into what you really want for effective skills development?
Thank you very much. I think a little bit background for our private sector, specifically here in Rwanda. Private sector is the last born in this big family which is called Rwanda. And before the education system here in Rwanda, people were trained by government, and they used to put students in schools in higher education and make sure that at the end of their courses, after bachelor degree, PhD, masters, they appoint you. So this is why, for example, they appointed you in education, in ministries, wherever they need the people. This is why the historical background of our education was limitative. Very few people could have access to education in this country. Now, people who used to be in the private sector, they used to be those who have not been got a chance to be educated. So I think those Rwandans, they know very well. Those private people who developed industries, which is still at an early stage, they are those people who have never been at school. They are self-made. So you can look around you, Rwanda Form, so and so. Those people who have been involved were not educated, so which means sometimes they used to work for big boss in the country, but this is the historical. Now, after 94, the genocide, this is when government opened doors. And now, the slogan, if I can say so, the government, the public service cannot afford to avail a job for every graduate. So which means private sector has to come in and create jobs, which is still a challenge. I want to talk also about this competence-based curriculum. Competence-based curriculum is a curriculum where you go in classes, but at the same time, you have to go in industry. Germany, this is the way they are teaching. But you have not yet embraced this competence-based curriculum. This is the first challenge. The second challenge is that when you develop a new program and you want it to be accredited by Higher Education Council, there is the first question: what are the need assessment you have conducted? What is new this program is coming to respond to? So the need assessment from the community, the private sector, and normally we wanted these days, and even if it was started earlier, we would like to see a curriculum developed in collaboration, high learning institution and private sector industries, because they are the ones who can tell us this is needed in the market. And we would like to see a student from NES being able to respond to this. So now this dialogue, need assessment, and even we are going to propose where someone from the private sector can come in high learning institution, deliver a course, a lecture, and explain to the student. This is when the competence base will be your business. But we still have another challenge where high learning can express a little bit more. This industrial attachment. It is a course like another one. You have high learning. We need to collaborate with private sector and have an agreement whereby we are going to send a student there. This is the responsibility of the high learning institution. If we teach a student about what is needed in the community, this is when innovation will come on board. Second, if private sector and users of the knowledge we are producing can be attached in industry, instead of an example which is not good, those who are doing social sciences, accounting, management, when they come in our respective office, what people in the services, how do you reconcile your balance sheet, all those issues. So I think the day when a kid will go in industry and will be taught practically, this is when you are going to produce somebody who is needed in the market. And lastly, I've discussed with some of lecturers. We are teaching in isolation. You are a teacher of mathematics, another one is for chemistry, another one for this, for business, but we don't teach our kids around a project, a problem which they are supposed to solve. And one will do this, another one will do this, another one will do this, and at the end, they are going to produce the solution to the problems they have, and they can go in the labor market and then implement. A simple example, when COVID invaded our country, we have seen some young, clever students or business people, they invented this, how do we call it? Sanitizer, hand sanitizer, everywhere. But there are so many. Instead of doing it alone, one could be have done chemistry, another one have done marketing, another one procurement, another one this, and then they can sit around the same project, produce the hand sanitizers, and one can sell, another one improve, another one packaging. This is when, for me, this is what I can call innovation in Africa. We have seen many people producing hand sanitizers, others producing masks. But at the end, there were so many, and the market was so limited. So I think we have to teach our kids, we have to change. We, most of us sitting here, we have been at school, and at the end, when you finished, there was Radio Rwanda was calling you, you are appointed to this and this. Presidential decree appointing you. It is no longer possible. So let us put our kids. NES-RUHENGERI, very nice, but I have challenged them. We are producing a lot of Irish potatoes. They have a good laboratory. They are multiplying. But when are you going to conserve? Europe today, they are eating when they produce once in a year. When are you going to sit around this golden, which is called Irish potatoes, learn how to produce it, how to conserve it, and then how to sell it? Otherwise, when we pass by, they are selling them, they are selling vegetables. Those women are telling us, you can take them, you will send me money afterwards, but I need to sell them. How can we, changing this one, the representative from the embassy has said, I have hope. Actually, I have hope too in this new area. These telephones, they have transformed this continent. Europe, they used to have telephones, landline, but here to have them, it was almost impossible. But today I can send money to my mom, I can pay school fees, I can do business, even sitting here with someone in Europe. But we have to build on those opportunities and produce a student who can be useful for him or herself, but also useful for the community. Only if we assess what is we need, not producing lecturers, not producing those people, master's degree, MBA. Sometimes I'm challenging them. If you give me money, I know how to manage my pocket. I don't know if we need people who have done management business. But maybe we need someone who can repair these, who can produce papers, because we need them. This is the challenge we do have. Standards are in place, guidelines, but we would like people to comply. Compliance is a big issue in higher education. I don't know what is happening in your respective countries. Today we have fake papers. Someone is telling you have been trained online. Africa has been invaded. There are polluters, intellectual polluters from abroad. How can you sit in Germany, but not you? I'm just joking. Someone is sitting in America, somewhere telling you, I'm running a course. How can someone do electrical engineering online? Those things are completely impossible. I can do mathematics online, I can do management online, but how can I do electrical engineering, civil engineering? And in most of those universities, they have people who have those papers. And you know them, and you don't want to challenge them. So I'm saying today, the world is evolving very quickly. We cannot stay like times of our fathers and ancestors. Now, globalization is real. What is happening in New York, in those who were following Rwanda Day, without going there, you know everywhere what has happened. So Corona again has invaded the whole world because these people try. That person is taking the virus, taking it all the world where the person is going. So I think we have to make sure that private sector is on board, but we in academic again, we have to have those small centers, innovation, small, where a kid can practice in support to transform to something tangible. But if you are teaching civil engineering or automobile, I think I cannot take your student in my factory like this Volkswagen and putting your student there, because I will be afraid. I don't know if the kid has enough knowledge to work on it. And even those innovations are done. I used to say is the backbone of any development in this world. In the western part of this country, this world, they ask you, what have you done? Who is it? This is the same question. But in America, they do. So we have to mix the two in order to do.
And of course, implementing this requires academic setting and industry setting. Let's first begin with the academia. And the Vice Chancellor of NES-RUHENGERI is the one. There is this complaint about the compliance. What is it missing so that we deliver the right, follow the rules and the regulations and guidelines, and then we produce products that the industry will be happy for. Thank you.
Maybe I don't want to. They are my partners. But I think in 2000, when did you? And now they are pretending being like University of Bonn or Berlin, something like that. So this is the work in progress.
Sure. Yes.
Thank you very much, Deja. In most of our countries, we are at the same level. We are searching for ourselves. As Deja mentioned, we cannot compare ourselves to the University of Bologna in Italy or because we are trying our best. And these regulatory institutions are there to help us, actually, people with fake knowledge. So the problem we have is mainly looking at NES-RUHENGERI. The government actually has been always the first to start education, and this is actually the work of the government to educate its people. When we are allowed to start private higher learning institutions, and this offer is supposed to be a serious one, and again, this is the duty of the government to check what we are doing with the children of our countries, so that we do not go for money, because this challenge may also be there. As a private institution, you may go for money and forget the responsibility you have as an institution. We try to comply with the rules and the regulations, sometimes with limited resources, and we are looking for some experiences, universities. We are looking for partners to have funds so that we can do what is right in a right time. And so here of the past, not the free University of Berlin, sometimes it's referred to as the how is it called? They call it the doctor Vater. Research, we turn back up to now to Germany. In academia and industry, when you come, you look for a kind of linkage here in the country. The first problem you face is that our industry is still weak, cannot be compared with the companies, industry, and train them, ready to train students. They are somehow, universities and the companies are connected. When you come here, you see that in the company, they are searching for themselves, they are looking for profit by all costs. There is no one who can train a student, especially a student from a university. So this is one weakness at the side of the industry. But when you our of mentoring, of helping a student to link the book knowledge is still a problem. But the way I see it, we are on a good track. We are trying to do what is possible, and the future, according to me, is bright. As we work together, we are trying to see if we can have strategic partners, not just partners. Sometimes you are just signing. So in some strategic partnership with sister universities, with industries, and with institutions which are in every country, because we have these institutions in every country in Africa. Like here we have HEC, there are others like HEC in other countries, just to guide us, to see if we can do the correct thing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. There is a need for collaboration, and industry is key in this partnership, in this collaboration. And when we talk about industry, we are in the context of improving, bettering what we do in a way or another, not just copy and paste, and adapt. The least we should be doing is that one, if we are not able to innovate. But we should be able to innovate, and innovation comes from the academia as well as the industry. There have been, since many years ago, accusations or complaints between academia and industry that one works without considering the other. Last year we had a workshop with industrialists here in Rwanda. We discussed about employability skills and service learning. And when it comes to service learning, you find out that some industries are helpful, others are still lagging behind in this, in this process. As somebody who graduated from the university in the IT sector, and you are now managing an IT company, there is quick progress, there is change in the market that needs this aspect of IT to be integrated into what companies do and academia do. How do you see the academia catching up with the industry changes, especially when it comes to ICT integration?
Thank you. I'm Shema Pacific. I'm Managing Director of Sanitech. We work on digitalization of many things that are manual in different sectors. Even we work on helping students when they are at school to make innovation and sell on market through linkage them with opportunities on market. That's what we do in Sanitech. So according to the question he asked, nowadays we have different opportunities as a student, as private sectors, in different sectors, because we listen like hunger pitch, like those opportunities for youth. But what I can say, things are changing. Last years, many youth are running for having a job, but nowadays they are running for self-employment and innovative. That's one of success we have nowadays. So what I can add on our running nowadays, if we see a teacher or a lecturer can teach a student since 2021 until 2024 without upgrading the skills, but technology is upgrading. So what I can add on it, as people who invest in education, as HEC, even other institutions that are helping different youth, we need more students on market for industry visit to just see how technology are expanding. Where we go, are we running what will be needed in the next 5 years? Because when we take a student from different universities, you see some gaps. For example, when we are in university, we run a language called Java, but nowadays there are new languages in programming that are being active. So some people are still running in Java. So if they come on the market, they need just to run before being employment. So what I can say, we need some industrial visit for students to visit industries that are running what they are doing. Even teachers or lecturers in like industrial exposure, many industrial exposure to upgrade what they have in 1 year to the next years, because technology is expanding from this area to this area. Nowadays, we listen some robots that are working what we are doing manually. So if a lecturer visits where they are creating a robot, he or she will come again to teach the student what to do in a robot, or that is example I'm taking, in a robot for him or her to be needed on the market on the next generation. Yeah, that's what I can say as a private sector, as the one who are working on industrial sector, which is the digitalization. But what you are doing now as NES-RUHENGERI, just to help people meeting and discuss, will help also students, I think it will not end here, to know that the technology is going on upside. So keep working, keep running, keep innovating. It will help them to be innovators and will help us in general to have a student with huge capability of being innovative and being productive. Thank you.
I wanted to add something on what you have said. Normally when Higher Education Council accredit a program, it is for a cycle, at least 5 years maximum. So which means the institution has to review and up to date. And if they don't do, this is why they're still teaching old programs which are no longer needed in the market. Second, this is very important for higher learning institutions. But I think also what has to be done is to see how normally a lecturer at the university is doing 3 things: teaching, searching, and innovating, and publish. If you don't publish, it means you perish. You cannot continue to teach what you have learned at school. So in order to be able to innovate, to publish, it means that person has to do some research around him and see what is happening in the market. This is the role of when they are promoted. Now, because of climate change, because of this, we are trying to move from oil. So there are a lot of
expanding. We've had an honor to collaborate with NES-RUHENGERI, and the criteria were simple. It's just find high learning institutions that is very much connected to its community, having the problem solving components or faculties. So back to the question, we believe in the collaboration, first of all, between the 3 main institutions as highlighted before, and this is academic, private sector, and government. And we are conscious that none cannot function properly without the other. And the link between the 3 is beautiful, if I can say. And this is because, as we have seen in other countries developed with it, but how do we identify the talents since the early age? And that's why, as Tempower, we collaborate with high schools, even though we establish universities. And the collaboration has been successful, and starting with INES, where we have seen the students learning from each other, whether from high school, but also their peers in universities, and also all the content that are from university, but also high school. But how do we turn these theories into practice? But also, how do we customize them to real issue problem-solving solutions? And as you know, Rwanda has worked tremendously in policy reforms when it comes to ICT, industry, market. And the policies allow for any direct investment, as Professor Roberta was saying. But how do we make sure that all, as Professor Roberta was saying, but how do we make sure that all these policies so much get from university are converted to real, I was talking about earlier on the policy part. But I think the best thing to your private sector, companies, I think it's something that yes, we're seeing the rise also of the industries in Rwanda, but also beyond. And that can not only work in Rwanda to make, and to make sure that Rwanda ICT Chamber or K-Lab, and recently we've been collaborating with other universities to see how the latest technologies can also be shared all around our students. And we find the partnership solid. Solution will come from, because once these institutions are able to collaborate, of course we can have charities coming, foundations or NGOs, but I think everyone has a role to play to make sure that things are running. And once we have students from Kigali, from prestigious rural areas, because they have learned the basic knowledge into practice at their local level, I think it's where we can start having engineers and serving the markets that we see, and solving definitely the problems that were raised. The last point I want to make is how do we take advantage of the practical knowledge in science, technology, engineering, and making sure that we take advantage of existing protocols. And somebody mentioned the AFCTA, and we are happy to have our African brothers, but also others from beyond. I think it's very good to really learn from what is happening in Rwanda and Rwanda countries, and making sure that there is transfer of technologies from one country to the other, capital shipping. I think the students will take advantage of that, but also future engineers and the companies. And that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interventions. I think we can open up for the audience. And in opening up, I would like to ask one question to Professor Kappel. You talked about endogenous innovation. That means basing on the local resources, local capacities, you know, everything that surrounds us. How far can this take us, given the expansion of globalization?
Okay, that's of course very complicated to answer. I am sure that on the local level, whether it's in rural areas, villages, small towns, medium towns, there is a lot of competence and knowledge which is not used. In pharmaceutical production, regarding agriculture, developing new varieties of and so on. A lot is there, and I think it is not really used. And when I listen to Espoir, activating the link of what is happening in the big city, the capital, and the universities to the local communities, for instance, there is a lot of opportunities. And I think this can be used, because then you also engage people who are perhaps poor, not so competent, but they have certain ideas how to develop. And I think endogenous development is about people, the enterprises, the farmers, the engineers, and so on and so forth. And where else should new ideas come from? It's not just from New York or so, because New York is a different level. It's globalization for big companies, multinational companies. But from your own country, from every African country, but also for Germany or European countries, the competence, the capacities come from the inside. And when you develop this and focus on this, also by cooperating with others, learning from others, then you can focus on all those problems we face today. And this is why I use the word inclusiveness, include all people. And I think it's often, like also in Europe, that the intellectuals, the academics, are not so much interacting with people from the village or the small towns and so. But there is a huge chance, opportunities for development from the inside.
Thank you, Professor. Can we have interventions? Be brief and be specific about who should give a feedback to your intervention, whether it is a question or something else.
Thank you. My question, my concern, I have two concerns. They are about the first speaker. Because of her position in the whole system. You put emphasis on needs assessment. And then I want to derive that when we talk about need assessment, we distinguish economic demand and social demand for education. How do you reconcile that at your level? The second concern is about management, because I found that you were trying to minimize. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, but in any kind of public service, we need management. We need to introduce management in the public service. When you have magistrate or the law people, they don't know anything about management. When you have medical physician and others, they don't know anything about management. And they run very badly their service. I can tell you. And I can list most public service. That's the example in my country in Benin. I'm not trying to pull my country down, but when I look at the whole thing, they need manager. For instance, when there is criminality in my country, we recruit 10,000 police officers. We don't need. We need only one planner, urban planner, to replace 10,000 police officers. Thank you.
So maybe let me start by the last one. If I maybe have not well communicated, is everything is needed in a society. It's like this hand. If I want to take this microphone, each finger has its role to play. So I'm not saying this one is this one, but what maybe I don't know how I have quoted that. We know very well, for example, government here, they have put a lot of effort in STEM, sciences, because they are saying maybe other courses, many students are sponsored in STEM. Because they're saying, issue of management, as I was saying, and so on and so forth, it is less expensive, you can find it here, so and so forth. But for me, management, social sciences, where I think here we need to put a lot of effort, and sciences, of course, everything is needed. So that one I wanted to highlight it. And you are saying the need assessment. Of course, you wanted to introduce a course. And that course, you in other sciences, when we talked about impact assessment, you look at the environment, the social, and the economics. Now, if you assess, you are bringing a new program, what are you resolving as an issue? Economically, of course, socially, and if it is this STEM business, sometimes you're asking them, how are you going to dispose of the waste you are producing? Not disposing them in the land, and at the end, the chemicals are going to pollute, and vice versa. So the course, you wanted to introduce a program, you wanted to establish a new high learning institutions, you have to demonstrate and to prove why, what the means, and so forth. Otherwise, if it is producing for producing, it has no meaning. Socially, economically, and the two impacts are essential. We are not yet applied. We have what we call applied sciences. We have also fundamental sciences. Maybe Africa, we are not yet at fundamental. We were putting a lot of effort trying to find solutions to the needs of our people.
I need to take the time to know it's what time. Good afternoon. Yeah, really good stuff coming out from the panel. One of the things, maybe just to mention, indigenous innovation in Kenya is actually a very, very big thing. And this is the one particular time, especially when it comes to university, I'll throw a friend of mine under the bus to actually discuss that, because he's going to actually, I'm just going to pass the mic to him after this. But my concern is, especially to the Director General, HEC, yeah. I would like to actually know much about the Rwandan government, maybe to just do a comparison with the Kenyan one. With this, the triune of academia, government, and public sector, we're trying as much as possible as academia to actually just have that particular linkage with the industry. So we are always being pointed at fingers. You in academia, you're not doing this. And then the industry is pointing to us. So at least slowly we actually like just closing up the gap. The question is the government, especially now for us guys, we have Q, Commission of University Education. So there's a certain level they can actually tell you, yes, you can actually review a curriculum at 30% without coming to us. But 30%, is it enough to actually just say we are at par with what the industry is actually asking for? So maybe we can actually just have a context of Rwanda. At what time do the academia come to the industry, come to the government and tell them we need review of curriculum to actually be at par with the current trends?
We are together at in the Inter-University Council for East Africa, which is our organization, and through which we work together. In our laws and regulations, we have put minimum 3, cannot review a program before a cycle. So 4-5 years. And as I was saying, in Rwanda we are now 30 years old. After 94, this is when we started putting things in place. When I am not there since a while, but it was said 30%. Some maybe they can go beyond. But when you are discussing, when you have good relationship with the universities, you can talk and see. Because maybe I think for us, we are still trying to bring them on board, but when there will be so many, maybe we not have time to continue to work like we are doing. But we hope also they will mature and be able to do their own quality assurance assessment, produce their report, and inform us on the way they are doing business. But thirdly, yes, private sector, when I started, I said here they like the last born. They're sitting here saying, oh, they're not supporting us, government, where are you? Institutions are doing nothing. But we would like also to see them coming. Yes, we have to support you, but what is your input? So they have a lot of chambers here, different chambers, whereby they discuss their issues, but they are, as I said, the last one to come on board. I think so. We are people that are saying academia, you are difficult to change. This is things like this. And oh, economy is moving, things are coming, so we would like to bring this. So, but if you open also in a community without a discipline, this is where we are going to get online PhD degrees. And one has done this and saying this, I'm able to do so. I think this discussion, government put a policy here, they recommend, you discuss with partners, you demonstrate how they are on board. But in this area of innovation, and where government is facilitating, I think we have to make sure that we bring them on board. How, when, I think each country, each institution, actually even here, all those schools are not working with private sector at the same level. There are some private sector, some companies, they are eager to come in because they want to have skilled people. There are others, you train them, they don't want to take them. They prefer those who have a certificate, 1 or 2, they pay like they want. This is another issue. So I think all those African kids, they need to be educated in a way or another one, and making sure that this country or our countries belongs to all of us. And as I said, this hand with these 5 fingers, each of them has a role to play. And if there is a proverb here, in Kinyarwanda, you help me. How can you translate that? We have 3 stones. Traditionally, kitchen in Africa, they have 3 stones and you put your business there. If you move one of them, you cannot cook. So this is what we have to bring on board. They would like to see facilities. They want the government to move taxes, to do and this. It is like they want everything for free. But when you ask them to, they say we don't have. But I think we can, if we bring them on board, giving them a lecture, then you can teach this. Then you can have a talk. Then maybe you can pay them if there is a lesson they are giving, a lecture. So having some incentives, and they can come. I see them during the graduation. They are giving prizes to the best student. All those issues, I think. And if they have a good business like him, and he has a good student coming, it will come. But it is a journey.
Thank you very much. I think we are one intervention. Oh. One.
About indigenous innovation, and what we are doing at Mount Kenya University is to collaborate with traditional healers, those guys who use concussions to heal people. And one of the things, why can't we make it a cream and people can use it topically? Because I think nobody would hesitate to use something that you can apply just like you apply any other ointment than anything. It's also our time to shine with what we already know and make it more attractive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karenga. Let's go to Professor Ikanola 1 minute.
Well, thank you so very much. One thing is clear. Our higher education institutions need to very quickly move beyond the trajectory of knowledge production and dissemination. We also need to pay adequate attention to the development of requisite skills as required in the workplace now and also in the future. And for that to happen, we need to have a comprehensive curriculum review. And this is something that can only be effectively coordinated by the appropriate agencies of government, given the way education is structured and administered in most African countries. But for that to happen again, there must be a proper synergy with both the public and the private sector in, first of all, carrying out a needs assessment so that we are very clear about the demands of the workplace, both in the public and the private sector. And the outcome of such needs assessment should inform the kind of review we would carry out in response to the demands of society as constrained, as defined today by advancement in technology. And on a final note, I think it's about time universities, apart from the emphasis that have been laid traditionally on degrees, to also begin to pay attention to certifications, such that by the time our students graduate, apart from going away with degrees, they should also have specific certifications in specific skills as will be relevant to their particular disciplines. I think these are the things we need to start looking at seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ikanola. One intervention over there, and then we conclude.
All right, thank you very much. And I appreciate all the responses from the panelists. In fact, I've learned quite a number of them. My only concern, and it's a contribution, has got to do with one. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Freeman from Ghana. The practice of higher education institution globally has gone through a paradigm shift, and I know Madam is aware of. There is this notion of online degrees, which a lot of people turns out to, in quote, always have some negative mindset against open distance education, whatever. And rightly, as Madam pointed out, the director pointed out, you can't do engineering online. And only. Yes. It is a very good point. But anytime we meet in such an international forum like this, I think we need to take a critical look at some of these structures and formal practices in this domain. There was this huge debate in my country, in Ghana.
Excuse me, sir, try to be quick.
Yes.
Because we want to catch up with time. Okay.
Yes, I am making this point because in our sub-region, we tend out to believe that anything foreign seems to be too good than what we have as our local, in our local context, especially when we turn out to integrate what we call the activity-based teaching and learning approach in our curricula, at the same time pushing a lot of effort in experiential learning and problem-based learning, which turns out to improve teaching and learning. And I was very happy when the VC mentioned that institutions, his institution, for example, is moving into such a direction. But the contribution I want to make here is that we need to embrace what we call the activity-based learning, experiential learning in our curricula to inform the quality of education that our students must go out with to enhance their employability skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's come back to the panelists while concluding. It's only 1 minute or 2 maximum. And you have heard what they said. We also heard what you said. One conclusion is that there is no limitations in terms of skills development when it comes to collaboration. That answers one of the questions in the topic, because the topic says skills development and transfer, a multi-stakeholder service learning synergy. What are the boundaries? We have seen there is no boundaries. Yeah. Now, as we conclude, what can be improved from each one's perspective? Let's begin with the industry, and then STEM, then Vice Chancellor, and Heck, you conclude.
Thank you. What can we improve? First of all, when we are preparing the curriculum we are going to offer to the student, we need also to include private sectors that can help us to know where business is now, what students need to be able to compete on the market. Second, what can I add also? Even if we prepare this curriculum and we offer to our students, they need also money, they need also to have market access, even they will become innovators. Let's trust what they do as output of what we offer. For example, you will visit many students at a school and creating more innovation, they present you what they do at a school and you will see that are innovation. But when they end the studies, that innovation remain at the school. So let's think as a school, what we will do for those people who innovate at their age, what we will do for them to get market, to access the market, even let's use what they do in our business if we work with what we do as a school. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe if I can do my remarks of conclusion. I think one element that was mentioned in the discussion is that the role of the private sector. I think it's very important, as we said earlier, that it's impossible for any of the actor to succeed himself or herself. And we have seen registered lately that a number of companies are starting to implement innovation hubs within their own space. And what does that tell to us? It's telling us that slowly, I'm optimistic, slowly industry is picking up. Our private sector are coming up to understand that they need academia. And by that, they are shopping or stealing our students who are bright to implement special talents and skills. And we have seen it even here in Rwanda, where fintech sector is picking up slowly, either through applications development or any other technological advances, but also in other industries when it comes to packaging or manufacturing. I think they need this special talents, and a number of them have been learned from our academia. And again, our government also has been putting more efforts in sound policies to make sure that all the collaboration is happening. So even though we still have gaps, some gaps, but we still observe slowly picking up of this. So again, as my conclusion, I think two things we need: collaboration between institutions. And one cannot exhaust the boundaries once there is a sound collaboration. Once there is a collaboration, you can really reach high results. But also remembering the existing problems that are out there, not in the cities. We need to see, yes, the rise in hubs, technologies, and all the ecosystem, but also we need to find a way to balance the skills found in the cities, but also in rural areas, because bright students and also actors are not only in the cities, but also how do we make sure that we pick them from where they are, avail the necessary infrastructures, and the policies reach them, so that at least in the end of the day there is an inclusive education, but also development as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To conclude, the question is, what can we improve? I think what we can improve is the change of mindset. I sense that in a good number of African countries, with African people, we are embarked on something which is wrong-headed. We want economic development, according to me, without good and solid basics, foundations. We need the money, and if we receive money without doing anything, much better. And I think we have to change this in education especially, but also in business. Look for quality, the quality of knowledge and of service. Before I hand the microphone, I wanted to say something about what our colleagues from Kenya said about indigenous innovation. I want to give just an example. At NES-RUHENGERI we have good botanic gardens, which have a good number of these plants used by our traditional healers. We tried to bring them on board. We paid to them some money because they are very keen at hiding their plants. But because of money, they brought a lot of species, which we have. We managed to secure some funds in collaboration with 2 universities in Germany, the Technische Hochschule Bingen and Hohenheim University, which is near Stuttgart. They do send students and researchers to work on those plans to see if they can extract some good pharmaceutical products. But looking at the situation, we see that there is some interference of the modern pharmaceutical industry, because we see some blocks somewhere, both in these universities and those who are supposed to help us with the funds, and in some regulations in the country. So to move, as it has been said, we need to move together. If we do not move together, we are looking at money and we are blocking some initiatives. It will be very difficult. Thank you very much.
So, thank you so much. Mine is thanking you all, vetted in this evening, that we can work together. And being skills are changing because needs are also changing. What we needed previously is no longer the same. So if skills are changing, if the world is changing, we have also to change and to make sure that we adapt. But also, I want to bring another idea. We have to be also resilient somehow, in a way or another one. Because if we are like a wind, taking us here and there, so we have to be resilient, but also to make sure that we adapt. Go far, you go with others. Kanye, and he has asked us to combine the two. We have to go far, and we have to go faster. So in this area of, if we in academic field, if we don't go far, who else is going to go far? If we don't go faster, who is going to go faster? I've said in my introductory remarks, education is the backbone of everything. So this is, we want or don't want, our government are putting resources or not, we are partnering with friends from the north, from the south, but if we don't educate our people, we will never progress. We will never develop. We will never innovate. So I think this is the most important thing. We have to, even a kid, we have to train how to repeat a word and so on and so forth. So let us take it as a goal, see how we can mature that very nice plant or whatever we said, even the chemical medicine or the medicine we have, it is coming from plants. And it is simple. If we don't conserve them, they are going to disappear. But my conclusion is, let us go together. Let us make sure that we go faster, and then we develop. I think this is the purpose, socially, economically. I submit.
Thank you. Another round of applause for our panelists. We have 20 minutes for listening to the alumni of AGEA, INES, and Access. Those who were students whom we trained, we took them to Germany, to Ghana, and now they are bosses. They are making money, they have their own companies. So 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Are you ready? Yes. Sorry. There is another session of the University of Ideas. Sorry. You will come late. We changed the program, so I was mistakenly announcing your arrival first before these ones. Yes. Bismarck. Yes, right now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I can see we are a bit low on energy, but we have to go through this session, and I hope that this would ginger you a little bit and prepare you for lunch. So I am the coordinator for the Access project with the Leipzig team, and yeah. So we have been talking about innovations this morning from Professor Kappel, and also through the panel. We've heard a lot about innovations, and one of the areas that we also need innovations is in our universities. Within the university system as well, the way we teach, the way knowledge is transferred from teachers onto students, and the way skills are developed, we also need these approaches to also be innovative. So we thought that this innovation can also be generated from within the university. So the university ecosystem is also capable of generating its own innovations in terms of the approach and the method in which knowledge and skills are transformed. So as part of this, we came up with the concept of a competition called the University of Ideas competition. And this competition is, from our point of view, unique in the sense that when you look at competitions in universities, you find that they are mostly targeted at students. But then this one is targeted at lecturers and trainers and also university management. And that is what we thought was kind of unique about this particular competition. So also thanks to COVID, we started this in 2020 and we have rolled on every year. We've had different ideas come through. And the main idea is to have innovative ideas in terms of measures, how training is done, how methods of training, how students are being trained in terms of university business linkages, in terms of capacity building, in terms of different areas that the university is working in. So the idea is to get these innovations in terms of concept from the lecturers, we put them together and evaluate them, and then we are able to kind of select a winner and make it somehow a competitive process. Now, in this session, what we are going to do is I'll just give a brief introduction, and then also we'll listen to have one example of an idea that has gone through this competition, has been implemented from our Kenyan partner, MKU, and then also today we ran the competition for last year, and we have people who were selected through the competition here, and they are going to give us a brief snapshot of the ideas with which they came through the competition. Then I would also mention a bit about the next step, and the idea is that in tomorrow and then Wednesday, we are going to continue to work with these ideas in the country teams and further develop these ideas in a workshop format. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that is what this session is about. So I would start off by just giving you a quick introduction. So as I've said, the goal is to come up with these innovative concepts and measures within our African universities and promote employability of students and our graduates. So like I said, we have been teaching, but it's as kind of inspiring the rest of us to see how far we can the public shortly.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from University of Abimbekalavi. The title of my idea is increasing graduate education through continual education and corporate coaching. The idea based on original idea of APAC, I mean Polytechnic School of Abimbekalavi, which have two types of training course. The first one, the classic training course that have bachelor, master, and PhD students, and they create a second one for professional one for bachelor professional students. And the aim of our idea of this proposal is to mix the two training school so that to allow people in bachelor's classic bachelor school to have the opportunity to attend professional area so that to gain experience and to have the chance to to have an internship, and then subsequently to have the opportunity to gain, I think, promotion in the industry. And this proposal have, I think, advantage both for bachelor's students that have the things to be training by the master people, professional master people, and to industry also to solve their problem. I think that's the main idea that I share. Thank you so much.
Just as a quick remark on this, just be very brief in the presentation of the ideas. The idea at the moment is just to give the audience an idea of which ideas are there. We'll have more time in the coming days to discuss the ideas.
Thank you. So my idea is part of global one, which is about soft skills. So in last December, we tried to have a workshop with professionals and lecturers. So what we did is to ask lecturers from 4 disciplines: psychology, socio-anthropology, information and communication, and management. We asked them to sit in a room, and professionals, they come one by one to tell them what they think is wrong with how we teach or we lecture a graduate student. So, but what we did, and we have the result of what we call declarative knowledge, and that we will try to put in lectures. That's all. Thank you.
Where is the first volunteer from Ghana? Over there.
Okay, so my name is Christopher Addo from Ghana. But our idea is simple. We realize that there's a big gap in terms of the graduates you are producing and then the skill sets they are getting. And the problem is 10% gets job after national service. That's when you say national service, it means that the youth service compulsory placement by government, and it takes 10 years for the other 90 to get jobs. So there are skills that are lacking. And so our idea is to find a way of helping them how to develop their soft skills and build an e-portfolio. So the title of our idea is E-Portfolio and Soft Skills Development for Enhancing Graduate Employability. And then the tools we'll use, I'm sure we'll come to that. And then the people and all those things. So I'm sure this is just it, so that in the essence of time, how to package yourself well and how to give the soft skills in a blended way for our students and graduate assistants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Also, in Ghana, at the Ghana Communication Technology University, I am leading a project in the area of augmented reality and virtual reality application within the STEM context. We noticed that teaching and learning in the normal physical classroom environment is helping, but the practical component of it seems to be lacking. We go to labs, we see the tools, we give the tools to the students after teaching, and they cannot use them. Something might be wrong. So we saw the need to build what we call the AR and VR virtual box laboratory, where the student can go to the VR lab and then make practical demonstration of whatever they are doing, whether engineering, whether management, whether computer science, whatever. Then they can get the hands-on skills that they can apply it in their project in order to increase their employability skills and hands-on skills. That is the project we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Lydia from Ghana, Amstead. Our project is, as Ken West said, in Ghana, only 10% get employed. So after that, the 90% goes where? Research say after 15 years or so before they get employed. And that is where Amstead comes in with our report, where we want to bridge the gap between education and industry and navigate through the path of unemployment. And that is where we are coming. We have 3 interventions, then we have 2 goals, and we have 3 strategies or activities to be done in order to achieve the 3 interventions. So basically, we want to ensure that we enhance the skills, employability or career skills of our graduates, so that at the end of the day, Amstead will be enhanced, Ghana will be able to produce employable skills. Then we'll chip in the entrepreneurship, where they will do the experiential learning, and they can pitch to be able to win any project for themselves. Thank you.
Good afternoon all. My name is Njeri Ngaruya from Technical University of Kenya. I just want to speak up from Ghana. So we're looking at the employability rate. So for our case, we're just looking at how do we bridge the gap between what you actually see in academia and the industry. So far, with the help of Safaricom, they've been able, I'm so sure you guys know Safaricom. If you don't know Safaricom, any green thing is Safaricom anyway. So with the help of Safaricom, we've actually seen the industry being able to come to academia, and they're able to through an accelerated program, they're able to take students through a whole 1 year session. So that means the industry is hands-on with the students. So now for this particular case, you're looking at what more, other than just accelerated programs, what more can you be able to actually achieve academia and in the industry. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name Dr. Francis Mtua from Kenya, Machakos University. My idea cuts across all the universities. We have been talking about employability. So the idea is having a tracer study questionnaire. Sometimes we are offering courses which are not marketable, they're outside there in the industry. So we have an idea of checking whether what we are offering in the universities is relevant in the industry out there. I was a victim. When I went to do my undergraduate degree, I was called to take anthropology, learning about societies. I could have landed there, but a colleague, a friend of mine, advised me not to take that one. You see, what we are taking, or we are telling our students to take in the universities, should be relevant to the industry. So this study is going to be given to the students as they get to the universities, and also we are going to make a follow-up when they go to the world of job, so that we can see whether what we have given them in the universities is viable out there. So I think it is going to help us all. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shukra Bello from Nigeria. This is a career initiative that started from Bayero University, Kano. So the idea is about enhancing the career development of graduates. What we are doing is that we are enhancing their career through a resource hub, where we match the graduates with mentors. At the same time, we develop their entrepreneurship skills through incubation, business clinic, acceleration program, and capacity building. And we are doing that with the private sector. We have the innovation hubs, they are private sectors, we have the Bank of Industry, and we have some private organizations that come into it. Why are we doing this? We want to enhance their career development in terms of self-reliant and self-employed. We want them to be self-employed. That's why we are bringing in entrepreneurship skills to develop their employability level. The idea started from Faculty of Dentistry in Bayero University, Kano. At the moment, we have other faculty within the College of Health Sciences that are adopting the model, and the university is working on the wide university adoption of the model that can be applicable to other faculties. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Oluseun Ishola from University of Ibadan, Nigeria. So the idea is actually to build on the gains that the University of Ibadan has achieved over the years. We know that the university has had several career fairs, and of course the one that was held last year coincided with the 75 years anniversary of the university. And one of the things that was emphasized in the course of the career fair was that students should begin to take advantage of global opportunities. So in a way to build on the gains, actually it was very engaging and a lot of things came out from the career fair. So in a way to build on the gains from the career fair, the idea we are proposing tries to put up a structure that would sustain some of the issues that were discussed in the course of the 2023 career fair held at the University of Ibadan. And what are we trying to do? We want to put up a structure which is called the Graduate Alumni Industrial Network that would come together, bring students will be registered from their third year, and when they subscribe to this, they would have periodic programs that will be held in order to hone their skills and prepare them for the world of work. It will also help to provide networking opportunities, mentorships, training programs, soft skills development, and a lot of other things. And that is what this idea is centered around. There are a lot of other issues that we are trying to look at in the bigger document where we are proposing this idea. I think at this point I would like to stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas James Arileba. The title of my idea is Advancement of Employability and Career Development, Leveraging Idea Incubation and Industry Skills. So the industry skills is of two focal points. We have acquisition of soft skills, then we have acquisition of digital skills. You quite agree with me that the skills to secure job is quite different from the skills to maintain the job. Then for the idea incubation laboratory, many ideas do drop into man's mind, but how many of them are we able to nurture, generate, and grow to commercialization? So this is the bedrock of the problem for these challenges. Then the targets or group of people for this, we have the students, which should also be our graduates, the university employees, then the idea consultants. Then we also have the soft skill experts, then or digital skills or expert. Also, part of the value proposition that this idea have, part of it is that it will be able to generate ideas and nurture the idea, then good. Then also we also have to blend town and gown in reality with today's job demand. Then also part of it at the end of the day is that as expected impact is that we'll be able to identify and know the number of ideas that have been commercialized. Then how many students are able or are gathered now are able to secure job, maintain job, and as well create job. Then in this cycle as well, in this cycle as well, it is meant for linkage between the university and the industry in terms of research, social corporate responsibility, then in internship. Then in general, the idea is continuous in nature and not one-off. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kawagambaev. My pleasure to be here. It's my first time to, actually when I say my pleasure to be here, it's not genuine, but today it's genuine because I've made many applications and and I saw the negative feedback. And the main of those email, there's Bismarck email. So hope today it will change something. Yeah, I'm from Rwanda, from NES-RUHENGERI. So when I was doing my bachelor, I saw you will see many apple trees, mangoes trees, but you can't see any farmers of apple in Rwanda. But 80% of Rwandan crops are banana. We never see any juice from banana or anything good from banana. We only eat when it is fresh. So my project was, what if after my graduation, I will make some product from our product which we grow here in Rwanda. So I have made white one from banana and sparkling one from banana. So my project is to produce some product from our already we grow here in Rwanda, and then after making it, we also teach other students or like other who are trying to come on market to dive already in something we have here in Africa. Thank you. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Nyirimana Jean-Marie Vianney from Rwanda Polytechnic in IPRC Ngoma. So we have an idea of development of virtual internship and mentorship platform, which will have a bridge between.
We would have, and in this workshop session, we will have some inputs, and these inputs are going to be sharing with you ideas of tools, of approaches, and one of the key ones is the project journey, which my colleagues, Sandy, Robert, together, we would share these ideas with you, and then the tools. And now then you would go into a workshop session, and I want to emphasize here that the workshop sessions will be done at the country level. And here, the country coordinators are going to be key because they have already been trained and they have the experience of working on strategies at the university level. And so they are going to transfer and facilitate this process for you, for the individual ideas to further provide some kind of backstopping, but then it's going to be led by the country groups so that everything is done within the country because you know the country context better, and this would help. Then I think on Wednesday we would have the final presentation of what you have done in the groups. So we would do something fun, which is doing it in a pitch fun set on certain criteria. And at the end of the day, we cannot finish everything. We have a limited time here. But the objective is that at the end of today, of Wednesday, or at the end of this week, you should have somehow a semi-finished idea or a mapped out process of how your idea is going to be implemented or improved. So that is the key thing. But going after here, the universities, that is the coordinating universities, will have the role of guidance until you have completed the final document or the plan or the project idea plan that you would have. And we are hopefully, we think that after this, we want to see a lot of the projects being implemented in the university, in your universities, not too long after here. So this is the steps for, at least in the interim, our time here, what we are going to do here, and then after we leave here. In conclusion, for a minute I was like, what did I do? But I think it's the projector that is distorted. Yeah, so I just want to share these with you as well. We would have the competition this year in a similar format. So also I'm sharing with you so that you can also, when you go back, you can also share with your colleagues. And we would have it in preparation for our summer school in Tunisia this year, which will be in October. So for this year, we would open the call around May or June, and then the selection would be done, finalized by July, and then also we'll have the summer school in October. The selection, I want to say, is done by the country teams, which is the country coordination team, and then also us from Leipzig. So it's not just something, it's a process that we go through. So this is on the University of Ideas. I want to conclude, I want to share also another opportunity with you, which is the business idea competition, which we have every year, the AGIA Business Idea Competition. And this is also targeted, yes, to a large extent at lecturers, but also students can be included here as well. But it is focused on innovative ideas that have been generated, business ideas that have been generated out of research. So we talked about innovation, we talked about the importance of R&D, but then now we are seeing how we can transfer these research ideas. So for instance, you've done some research, you've had some results, you've had some products, and you think some of the results can be transferred into an actual business. This is the platform for you. So again, look out in March, we'll open the call, and then we will have a selection of the winners, the ideas, because we need, this is kind of a stringent criteria. It must fit this. And the idea is also to give the opportunity. In Germany, we have this fund, which is used to promote academic entrepreneurship. So this kind of ideas from research. And what we want to do is to explore the opportunity of taking ideas from here and further developing them and prepare these proposals to request to get these grants. I think you could get as much as
Depends on the qualification of the person. I think for a person with a master degree, it can be up to 2,500 per month. And if it's a bachelor degree, it's a bit less. And of course, this takes into account living costs in Germany. That's the reason why it's that amount.
So the fund would help the winners to come, would take them to Germany, and they would have these funds to be in Germany and continue to work on their idea. That is what it is. So they would work on their prototype, which further would now become like the final product or something like that. So, but for this, you need to already have, let's say, a prototype or an MVP, but all the details will be specified. So please check the website from March, and all the information will be put there. But the country coordinators have already been informed about this, and you can also contact them directly. You can also send me an email if you have any questions, and I would gladly respond to it. So that's also another idea, business idea, that competition that I want to share with you so that you keep it in mind as we go through the week and also get out of here. So I think I'm done, and thank you very much for sharing your ideas. But then I think somebody had a question at a point. Somebody highlighted he wanted, the gentleman here, he's gone out. Okay, all right. So thank you very much for all the ideas that have been shared. Thank you.
We are about to close.
In 2022, our company is one of the selected companies here in Rwanda which implement the circularity principles. During this life cycle assessment of circularity principles, we have identified that our main hotspot in this environmental aspect is use of cement and electricity. We have come up with the solutions to overcome this hotspot to be one of the certified companies which are implementing the circularity principles. About reducing the hotspot of cement, we have conducted the research of working on our mixtures, where we add sand into our mixture to reduce then the amount of cement that we use into our mixture. About the electricity, we are about to construct our workshop, which will be powered 25% of solar energy. And for the reinforcement boards, we are now using the fiber reinforcement, and they used reinforcement boards instead of using the new ones. And we have a buyback services.
because our product are made to last longer, some client may want to change the designs. That's where we came up with the ideas of having a buyback service where you can bring back your furniture you bought from RCGF, then we give you back the new design according to your specifications. This is the design of the workshop that we are willing to construct in 2026, as the main challenge about the business is the need of a well-equipped workshop. But we have designed a well-understandable vision of raising some investment and do some savings for having a well-equipped workshop by 2026. We have managed to buy the 7,000 square meter of land in the industrial area where we'll be having our workshop. Yeah. As a community outreach, I used my first dividend from my company to build a community library in my home village called Lango Library. Thank you very much. I have started with 2,000 books, and I'm planning to have some computers to have a digital library. I mean the digital library with audio books and some digital publications. This library is there in my community to provide the basic on research methodology and professional ethics among my community. And I'm committed to keep investing 25% of my dividend every year to make sure that this Lango Library will become a big research center for my community. Therefore, I'll be playing my role as a private sector to empower my community and making sure that I'm playing my role to produce the competent employees and, of course, making my impact to my country's vision of being a knowledge-based economic country by 2035. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the potential partnership to keep improving this initiative of having a community library in my home village. And of course, I'm transferring the skills I get from summer school, because one of the purposes of this library is to help my community to be able to shape the implementable business ideas basing on the natural resources that we have in our community and be able to use our potential to contribute to sustainable development of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilles. Let's welcome Yves.
My name is Kabagamba Yves Bernard. I'm an alumni from NES-RUHENGERI. I have made sparkling banana wine and white wine from banana. After analyzing that, one of the problems we have in Africa, when we produce new product, we rely on product from abroad, but we don't produce product from our own crops we grow here in Rwanda or in Africa. So one of my project was, here in Rwanda, 80% of crops are bananas, and 30% of crops here in Rwanda, they get
the software that are being used in management of the citizens' issues that are being raised in local governments. That was for the government to do a networking, how they can manage the servers, or how they can create their own jobs using the IT that they have learned in the school. This is the sum of the big products you can, I talked about. There's the Swatch school system or the inventory. We sell it on in the city center. Then you can continue. Yes, continue. So these are some of the big companies here in Rwanda. We served for our system, the web development, for the management of their systems, on the daily-to-daily consultants of their activities. Then my journey in Agea, since I attended that summer school took place in Ghana in 2018, I learned a lot of things that orient me to follow my business plan, how I can continue in that way so that I can easily get the benefit and easily get the process of how we do our work. As long as that time I was myself and the one guy, and for now we having almost eight employees on monthly payroll. So all the mentorship I'll see from Agea that becomes access for now. It's really helped me for the management, how I orient all the money I invest, and also how I do my activity on daily basis. So this is our location. We have the main offices here in the city center in the MIC building on 4th floor. And we really thank you so much for this network. It's a valuable network for us, and we appreciate what you did for us. We thank you so much, and thank you for your time for listening to our testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. These are a few among 30 students who went through the programs of Agea, and about 20 others who went through the Access program and who are now doing different activities, some of which are business management or business creation and management. So we are coming to the end of our session of today, and I would like to invite the Vice Chancellor to close the session of today. And after we shall meet on the rooftop for the lunch. After, in the afternoon, we may have time to make a city tour for those who have not been to some of the places in this beautiful city of Kigali. So, without further
and useless. Thank you so much for your time and best wishes for the days to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The session of tomorrow will take place at Classic Hotel. We don't have to come here. We will stay at the hotel. Then we start at 9. The other activities will be announced as we move on with the planned program for tomorrow. So enjoy your lunch, and let's all meet on the rooftop.